The time is now. The moment we've been waiting for is here. History is being made as we speak. The African Podcast and Voice Awards 2022, dedicated to African audio creatives, amassing over 2,000 nominations and 70,000 votes. Are you ready for 42 winners across over 20 countries of Africa? A new narrative has emerged. Today marks the beginning of the future. Introducing Bidemi Adedire, the founder of APVA.
Hello everyone. Woo! A few days from now, APVA will be a year old. And so much has been happening. It's been quite the journey and a daily experience. Like for me, it's a daily learning experience. So I would like to appreciate every supporter of APVA. You've given us so much confidence in what we do that we believe we can take on the world. We value your guidance, we value your support and sponsorship. We exist because you encouraged us. We thrive because you support every initiative we introduce to the community. We are relevant because you endorsed us. We are you and you are us. Thank you. Thank you so much for your support and your feedback since we began. We cherish and love every one of you.
Let's hear from Mark Asquith, MD and founder of Captivate, headline sponsor of the African Podcast and Voice Awards.
Hi there, my name is Mark Asquith. I am co-founder and managing director of Captivate, the world's only growth-oriented podcast hosting platform. And wow, what a pleasure it is to be platinum sponsor of the very first African Podcast and Voice Artist Awards. And look, on behalf of myself and the rest of the Captivate team, and in fact, the whole podcasting industry, I just want to wish everyone the very best of luck and say how honored we are to be a part of this inaugural event and just how delighted we are to see this space growing. Enjoy the event, and here's wishing you the very best of luck.
And now, the first award of the event, a Special Honors Award. The award for Spotlight of the Year podcast category goes to Adele Onyango.
Hi, my name is Adele Onyango. I am the founder of Legally Clueless Africa. We're a digital media company and we're committed to amplifying African stories as well as promoting wellness for our African community. And we do this through our audio podcast. We have a video series, we have a tour series, and we also have workshops and events. And I'm so honored to be a recipient of this award because it always feels good to be recognized, but more so to be recognized on the continent by an organization started by Africans and run by Africans. So this is very dear to my heart. And my only message to other Africans is that it's so important for us to build our own digital media companies and organizations because this is how we get to tell our real, raw, and unfiltered stories. This is how we get to shine the spotlight on issues that affect us from our lens. It's by having more of us in the space. So no, we do not have enough African podcasters. We do not have enough African creators. We need more. We need you. That idea that you've been sitting on, scared to start because there's all these different fears, there's imposter syndrome. I'm just here to tell you, start now. Start with what you have, start with what you know, and most importantly, we need to hear your voice. We need to hear your story. Thanks again for the award. I am so honored and I'm sending my love to all African creators on and off the continent. Bye.
And now, the award for Lifestyle and Entertainment Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Tea with Tay, Podcast and Chill with Mac G, Storytime with Jay, The Young God Podcast, My DMs Podcast. And the winner of this award is The Young God Podcast by Rodney Omeokachi.
Hey everyone, Rodney here, host of The Young God. To be nominated was a blessing, but to actually win, oh my goodness. And I just want to thank everyone who has supported from day one. I want to thank APVA themselves for the effort and the initiative in putting all this together. I want to thank everyone who voted, everyone who has ever listened, who has ever pressed play on my content. And most importantly, I want to thank me for the consistency, for the creativity, for the ingenuity, for the tenacity, and just for being me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And now, the award for Best Sports Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Vibes with Edmond Oris, ASU Sports Business Podcast, Third World Perspective, Hockey the Podcast, Made in Africa Sports. The award for the Best Sports Podcast of the Year goes to Made in Africa by Olamide O. Abe. Here to present the award for the Voiceover Service Provider of the Year is Whenever Ehime Ofumbamu, APVA's event team lead.
I'm a podcaster and a proud member of the APVA community. It is a platform dedicated to discovering Africa's unique voices and celebrating them. In this year's first ever APVA Awards, we want to take this time out to say congratulations to you all, and you deserve the best. It's just the beginning. It's my pleasure to present to you the Voiceover Service Provider of the Year at the first ever APVA Awards. But first, let's meet the nominees.
Voiceover Workshop and Media, Voiceover Academy, South African Voiceover Academy, Lupify Media.
That was an amazing pool of talent, but we can only have one winner. So you all are amazing. So this year's winner of the Voiceover Service Provider of the Year goes to
Voiceover Academy.
On behalf of the Voiceover Academy, we just want to say a very big thank you to APVA for this award. For us, it just affirms our commitment to changing the landscape of the voiceover industry, particularly globally. This award is dedicated to every team member, faculty, and every reliable alumni of the Voiceover Academy. Thank you and God bless.
This is the APVA Awards, brought to you by Captivate. Here to present the award for Diasporin Podcast of the Year is Dave Lee, co-founder of the International Podcast Day.
Hi everyone, my name is Dave Lee. I am co-founder of International Podcast Day, and I am truly honored to celebrate alongside the Association of African Podcasters and Voice Artists. If there is one thing I love, it is an award ceremony to celebrate the amazing talent in the industry. To every audio creative, voice talent, and podcaster out there, I wish you all the best in the award ceremony. You all deserve to be here. Please know that your voice in the industry allows you to speak directly to your audience about your experiences, your stories, your successes, and your struggles. I know you will continue to lead the way in giving the much needed attention to Africa's voices by continuing to tell and retell the African narrative. My hope is that all of you continue to build the future of African voices in podcasting. Okay, the time is now. Here are the award nominees for the Diasporin Podcast of the Year.
Zim Excellence, I Rise Conversations with Joanne, The Stoop Podcast, Sambasa Podcast, Umami Conversations Podcast.
And the winner is
I Rise Conversations with Joanne by Joanne Unwosu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am extremely honored and grateful to have been selected to receive the Diaspora Podcast of the Year award. It all started as a dream 18 months ago, right in the peak of the pandemic, where I wanted to do something to help inspire and motivate people at a time where the world was at an all-time low, where there were so many deaths and so many shattered dreams. I sincerely thank my producers Zidane, Diana, my DJ Namdi, and Nicolette of Ochin Radio, my assistant Bidemi who keeps me organized, all my guests who share their inspirational stories and strategies at winning in life, and of course the most important people, my listeners, who allow me serve them with a platform to provide guidance on how to win in life. Last but not least, I want to thank you, APVA, for offering recognition to podcasters like me. I hope that this recognition of my work can serve as an inspiration to others in the field. Remember, we are all designed for greatness. I will continue my efforts to provide a platform to shift mindsets and provide strategies to empower everyone, make the right decisions, and take action to win in every area of life. Thank you and good night.
And now, for the award for Best Commercial Performance, TV. The nominees are Mazino Appeal, Nigeria; Adejumoke Ayodele, Nigeria; Wakio Mzenge, Kenya; Cynthia Kimola, Kenya. And the winner of the award for Best Commercial Performance Television is Wakio Mzenge.
My name is Vakio Mzenge. I'm a voice, stage, and screen actor from Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm so excited to be among the very first nominees in the Maiden APVA Awards. I want to congratulate all the other nominees that I share the category with. I was nominated under Voiceovers in the category of Best Performance Commercial TV. Oh, and I'm so excited to be announced the winner. Yes! I just want to say that the audio industry is a very important industry in Africa. And not just because we earn a living out of it, but because it gives us the power to use our voices to tell our stories in the most authentic of forms, to nullify all misrepresentation of our people, to sell products, obviously, and to shift perspectives. The weight of this responsibility is heavy, but I'm glad to be bearing it. God bless us all, and may God bless the power of our voices.
And now for a discussant interview with Molly Jensen, CEO of Afropods, major sponsors of the African Podcast and Voice Awards, on how Afropods amplifies African stories and what to expect next. With your host, the talented Gina Tigere of 1,000 Voices Podcast.
Hi there, my name is Gina and I'm your host for this discussion interview segments. With me here is Molly Jensen. Molly Jensen is the CEO of Afropods, a Pan-African podcasting platform building the largest African audio stories library on the planet. Based in Nairobi, Kenya, as a Ghanaian American born, Molly is extremely excited to help Africans create and take up as much space in the podcasting platform as possible, while also creating avenues to help them getting paid for the work that they do. She has over 10 years of experience across people management, sales, marketing, and technology. And Molly also enjoys traveling. So if you are interested in podcasting in Africa, definitely reach out to her. She will be available to talk about any partnership opportunities. So yes, let's begin.
Hi, Gina. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. It's wonderful to be here with APVA and get the chance to talk a little bit more about Afropods. Thank you.
Amazing. We are so happy and pleased to have you as well. So I am going to start with the first question right away. How did Afropods begin? And why did you decide to take up on this massive responsibility?
Oh, you're definitely not joking about a massive responsibility. You're talking about storytelling on the continent. I mean, Africa is a continent of rich orated history. I mean, since the beginning of the time, it's the way that we've all told our stories. And I think you can look across the continent and see so many different examples of people telling stories around a fire or people telling fables. And I can speak on that about Ghanaian stories that my grandparents used to speak to me in riddles and growing up. And I think with the introduction of media, tech, audio, podcasts, and this intersection of what's happening right now, it's very important for us to capture the opportunity to digitize African stories and show how important they are, not just on the continent, but within the diaspora and across the ecosystem. There's really never been a more exciting time globally for the continent when it comes to media, whether that's Beyonce Black is King, Year of the Return, Afrochella, Burna Boy selling out MSG, Amapiano becoming huge, Afrobeats exploding. I mean, I believe The Lion King is still the highest grossing Disney film of all time. And I think here we are, African creators who've never really had a spotlight truly shined on them, giving a chance to have visibility. That's fundamentally important. And I feel a real responsibility to do right by the creators on the ground and figure out a way for them to get paid to monetize their content. When you ask about when did Afropods start, as an idea, conceptually, it started in 2017, and I stepped in as CEO about a year and a half ago. So I've redefined what the vision is, and I'm working with an incredible, exceptional team of Kenyans on the ground. We do have a footprint in Nigeria as well, and we're looking to expand across the continent as always. So definitely constantly looking for talent, building out an amazing pipeline of people around us, and really learning what African people and creators ultimately want.
Awesome. Sounds like exciting times coming ahead of us.
Oh, certainly. You already know. It's going to be exciting for all of us.
I really look forward to this, and Afropods making such a big impact that I feel like Africa truly deserves. So now my next and final question to you, Molly, is what should African creatives expect going forward?
Well, I'd love to toss that back to the African creators. Ultimately, we are excited to learn more about the African creator because we are in an early adoption phase of podcasting on the continent. You look at what people consider more established markets, let's say the US and the UK, and we are emerging as a continent in terms of this medium, in terms of this content generation medium. And I think that's happening in other emerging markets around the world, i.e. South Africa or Asia. So we need to know more about what the creator wants. And ultimately, if I had to put it in a succinct answer for you, I think we're going to see growth across the board. We are going to see more podcasts. We're going to see more podcasters. We're going to see more podcast listeners. We're going to see more partnerships. We're going to see more visibility. And there's just never been a more exciting time to be part of an industry like this, to be part of one of the movers and shakers on the continent. The pie is so small right now. It's not about taking a piece. It's about making it bigger. Everyone needs to win. Platforms like APVA and this award show just shows how important and how needed this type of recognition is for podcasters and for listeners. Platforms like Afropods show how important it is to have what the African creators deems as important visible. Businesses like Africa Podfest show how important the research is. Production studios like Semabox in Kenya, they show how important it is to create a space to break down barriers to entry so that people can come from contribution and ultimately have space to create their content. So we are looking at some of these, what you want to call giants right now, podcasting giants from across the continent who are making incredible footprints in this audio industry as it evolves, right? Because ultimately we are a continent of storytellers. And we are a continent comfortable getting information through our ears, comfortable with radio, comfortable with listening. And as we continue to enter this intersection of media, technology, audio, radio, podcasts, digital everything, I'm excited to play a piece with our incredible team. This doesn't happen unless everyone decides it's important. And I am incredibly grateful to be in a position to empower everyone around me and everyone that I can in order to help lift the ecosystem so that we get more visibility. Ultimately, everyone needs to be seen. Everyone needs to be able to take up space. Everyone needs to have an opportunity to get paid, and everyone should have the ability to be as visible as they'd like to be. So I'm very, very honored to even be able to speak with you, Gina, and I'm so excited to see how APVA grows. You guys know you have a true fan in me, and keep your eye on Afropods, and I hope that people consider migrating to Afropods. We are a free hosting solution. Listeners can still listen wherever they would like to. The creator just uploads their podcast to Afropods and distributes it to their DSPs. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Molly, for this amazing initiative that you're taking upon yourselves. It's such a great responsibility, and I really wish you all the best towards creating this into the greatest success that you wish for it to be.
The APVA Awards is proudly supported by Platinum sponsor Captivate and Diamond sponsor Afropods. And now, for another Special Honors Award. The award for Spotlight of the Year, Voiceover category, goes to Chilu Lemba.
Thank you so much. To be acknowledged under the APVA Legacies category with the Spotlight of the Year acknowledgement is very special. And I wish to thank the Association of African Podcasters and Voice Artists for the honor. It is a great honor. When I started out as a voiceover artist 26, 27 years ago, voiceover artists were almost considered mythical people. You knew who the voices were, but you had no idea what the people behind the TV or radio ads or animations or movie trailers looked like. There was a mystery. We walked the streets almost in total anonymity. Sometimes we were betrayed once in a while when out in public by our recognizable voices. We haven't been in the public eye, but we're certainly in the public ear. Today, it's very different. Partly because of social media. We're out there, people know us by name, they want to be part of the community, they want to make it big, they're in our DMs asking us for tips. Some put the words voiceover artist on their profiles describing what they do, when in actual fact they aren't, and they might never get an actual paid gig. I'm not being negative, I just need to emphasize that it's fashionable now to be a voiceover artist, in other words. I'm among those who, through this exposure, have the honor of being one of the torch bearers on the continent for this industry, and I don't take it lightly. Hence, I do my best to share knowledge with those on the come up through resources online, amongst them my podcast, The Voiceover Plug, which I trust are useful resources for those who, as they say, have got the chops to make it in the industry. Not everyone can be a voiceover artist. I'm humbled by the acknowledgement today. It shows that while we work away, we're putting in these long hours and investing time and money to upskill ourselves and to perform with excellence, purchasing software and equipment, learning and sharing. We're being watched and we're being cheered on, and that's special. I wish to thank my wife, Carol, and my daughters, Talita and Liseli, and all those who have planted into my journey over the decades. To the APVA, keep up this great work. And once again, thank you so much. It's truly an honor.
And now, for the award for Best Commercial Performance Radio, the nominees are Chioma Okpala, Nigeria; Ewuma Oyegwa, Nigeria; Monique Bet, Kenya; David Oyuke, Kenya. The winner of the award for Best Commercial Performance Radio is David Oyuke. And now, for the Best Audiobook Performance, the nominees are Joy Ogbekene, Nigeria; Chioma Okpala, Nigeria; Stevie Dyke Njala Totolo, Rwanda; Atibo Onen, Zambia, South Africa. And the winner of the award for Best Audiobook Performance 2022 is Joy Ogbekene.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely honored to be recognized for my work and to be the recipient of this award, because I'm sure that the other nominees in this group are as capable, if not more capable, of receiving this award. I have faced many challenges in the course of my career, but each of those challenges has turned me or has made me a thorough professional whose one goal in the course of her work is client satisfaction. I am very grateful to everyone that voted for me. My friends, my social media family, my APVA family, my church family, everyone that voted for me, I thank you so very much. To everyone who has supported me in the course of my career, in the course of this journey, thank you so very much. I would also like to thank my senior colleagues who have been very supportive of my career and have mentored me every step of the way. As I receive this award, I promise to get better at my crafts, get better at my work, and continue to put in the work to give client satisfaction. Thank you, APVA. Thank you for this award. Thank you. God bless you.
And now, for the award of Best Corporate Explainer Performance. The nominees are Stephanie Anene, Nigeria; Emmanuel Afemike, Nigeria; Melody Edeme, Voice of Melody, Nigeria; Sarah Johnson, Nigeria. And the winner for Best Corporate Explainer Performance is Emmanuel Afemike. And now, for an interesting conversation with the one and only Osage Alonge. Watch this interview on the future of podcasting in Africa. Hosted by Tolulope Kolade.
Hi there, my name is T-Code and I'm your host for the Discussant interview segment. With me here is a prolific podcaster, writer, media and marketing expert with over a decade of influence in the Nigerian audio industry. And I'm talking about no other person than Osage Alonge. Osage, it's a pleasure to host you on this Discussant session.
Hi, thank you so much. I am very, very, very excited to be speaking with you. Thank you so much.
All right, then. So let's begin. So tell us a bit about yourself and your podcast-related activities in Nigeria.
Well, my name is Osage. I have a background in media and marketing. I started off, interestingly, in the music space. I used to be a rapper. Then I think I found my calling by telling other people's stories. So I did a bit of public relations for artists. Then I delved more into journalism, and I spent a couple of years, writing and breaking stories around the entertainment space, and then moved more into business and technology. But while doing all of these things, right, and even moving further into marketing, I think my knack for telling stories has always been there. So I've either had, launch podcasts where I'm, telling stories about culture or pop culture or things about history. And my love for podcasting moved me further into, launching a podcast network where we work with African voiceover artists, podcasters, and storytellers, in just connecting with their audiences by telling them the most informative, educative, and entertaining stories.
Awesome. That's great. So we're speaking with the right person because the topic of this discussant interview is the future of podcasting in Africa. And then I'd like to ask you a question. What would you say about the podcasting industry in the last decade? Would you say you've seen good progress in the industry?
Well, globally, it has turned to a multi-billion-dollar business. You see the likes of streaming platforms like Spotify giving the likes of Joe Rogan $30 million deals. In the last 10 years, we've seen it grow astronomically. Audience size, impact, influence. If Michelle Obama can have a podcast, then it's definitely one of the channels to reach, a certain type of audience. We've also seen a lot of people who have been able to carve a niche audience for themselves. There are podcasts about cooking equipment that people enjoy and love to listen to. So that's what it has also done. Locally in Nigeria and in Africa, it's still very niche, it's still very nascent. What we're figuring out right now is how to get the podcast to the audience. Do the audience have the enough data to listen to a 40-minute, a 1 hour, or 2 hour podcast? What other formats can we get this podcast to them? I think the first phase in terms of like creating podcasts, we started to see more of that. More people are interested. Technology, however, is going to solve this problem for us as it has solved many other problems. With deeper internet penetration, with more access to smartphones, mobile phones, and with the cost of data dropping year on year, we'll definitely see a bigger audience.
Interesting. So you've mentioned a few things that I would consider to be solutions, and I'd like you to, speak more on that. What are the things or the changes that you hope to see going forward in the African podcast industry?
The first thing is content, right? So there's a bulk of podcasts that have to do with culture. You ask them, so what's your podcast about? And they say, oh, we just talk about things that happen week on week. And I want to see more podcasts. I want to see more podcasts about history. I want to see more podcasts about some of the events that have happened. I want to see more podcasts about personalities and not just, oh, this is what happened in the news this week. I want to see more podcasts about stories leading up to elections. The Kenyan election just happened. Was there a podcast that actually journaled everything that has been happening in the last 18 months to 2 years? Nigeria's 2023, the election is coming up. Do we have podcasts that follow each candidate and are telling these stories? So I believe, content, as regards content, a lot of storytelling still needs to be done. We still need to look for different stories to tell. Right now, if you go to the categories, pop culture section is filled up. But if you go to the sports section, if you go to the wellness section, and a couple of other sections there that you need more content in, I hope we can have more people who are more focused and more involved in other genres other than the very, very popular ones. I think that's like the first step. And once the content is right, I want to see more consistency. So the average podcast now stops at 5 episodes. Everybody, podcasting is like the 2010 version of blogging. Everybody had a blog. Everybody wanted to have a blog. So everybody wants to have a podcast. But I want to see more people be more consistent with their podcasting, because it only creates a wide a potpourri of like content that you can consume from. So I want to listen to news, I want to listen to music related, I want to whatever you want to listen to. You now have like a wide variety. You have a variety of podcasts to listen to. And I think the third thing is we just need more wins. We need more people to have more collaborations with brands, because it just validates podcasting generally. I'll give you an example. Jola and FK of I Said What I Said, after 4 years, we're able to have a three city podcast live show, one in Lagos, one in Abuja, and one in Ghana. Yeah. And by doing that, we validated every other person who has been thinking about going into podcasting, or who has been putting out content consistently. So I think those three things are very, very key.
Fantastic. Content and validation. I can't remember the third one now. Oh, okay. All right. Fantastic. So you're speaking on celebrating podcasters and validating what they do. What do you make of a platform like APVA and the award event that we are celebrating today?
I think it's super important to have platforms like APVA who recognize podcasters, what they do, right? And who also carry like a front to other partners or businesses or associations, right? So people actually take podcasting seriously. And I like what APVA is doing. Their first focus is actually on the podcasters themselves, right? Which is celebrating these podcasters, recognizing these podcasters. I think having an association that does like all these things, and it's not also for showboating, it's very critical. You see that they are more concerned about the podcasting industry and the podcasters, which are like the first things. And that's why they're starting off with like, an award show. I'm super excited about it. When I learned about it, I was talking to a friend and I just went to the website. I got an email as well. I was like, yes, this is what we need. Because I've been having conversations with people like, we need to start something, and everybody needs to come together, and that's the first layer. The second layer is, because there's a community now, I can reach out to a podcaster in Mozambique, right? If I'm a sports podcaster in Zambia, I can reach out to a sport podcaster in Ghana through APVA, because APVA has now created like that directory, right, where we can collaborate and meet each other and talk. And you know what they say, we're in a global village, right? Yeah. It's just one Slack message, one email, and I'm connecting with people. Imagine if I were writing a Pan-African story, I probably don't need to travel. I can now collaborate with other podcasts in the regions and say, okay, there's this story we want to write about climate change. You are in Egypt, I'm in Kenya, you are in Lagos, and you are in South Africa. Let's collaborate on this story and put it out. It's very possible. And it's platforms like APVA that can have that happen.
Wow. Thank you so much, Osage. It's been a fantastic time talking to you. And thank you all too for listening to this segment. Osage has spoken about the need for content, the need for consistency, and the need for celebrating each other. And that's why we're doing this today at APVA. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more award announcements and enjoy the rest of the event.
And now, the award for Comedy Podcast of the Year. The nominees are The Sandwich Podcast by Tony Kibet, What a Joke by Adebayo Oduwole, and the winner of the award for Comedy Podcast of the Year is What a Joke Podcast by Adebayo Oduwole.
Hey everybody, my name is Adebayo Oduwole and I'm the host of the What a Joke podcast, which is comedy with educational side effects. I love the comedy category because a lot of things classify, and that just shows the amount of diversity that I've come to admire. There really is no wrong answer. Last year, I wrote an acceptance speech that I wanted to use for my second season's trailer, and the fact that I might actually get to use that tonight is mind-blowing in itself. I'm truly grateful, and may the funniest podcast win. Wow, I guess you guys do get to hear the speech. Okay, I would love to thank God, my mom, my fam, friends, and my girlfriend as well, if I did have one. Glad to see that that part of the speech still works a year and a half later. I would love to thank the entire Jamit family, my fans who we do all of this for. Love you guys and thank you.
And now for the award for Fiction Podcast of the Year. The nominees are The Cheeky Narratives, The Writer's Source Podcast, Story of the Gods, and the winner of the award for Fiction Podcast of the Year is The Writer's Source Podcast by Faith Unwani and Ufoma Bakpore. And now, for the award for the Best Arts Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Orire Africa, Cinema Red Pill, The Young God Pod, Africa Design, This Audio is Visual, and the winner for the Arts Podcast of the Year is This Audio is Visual. And now, another Special Honors Awards. The award for Spotlight of the Year, Spoken Word category. The award for Spotlight of the Year, Spoken Word category goes to Puno Selesho.
Hello, my name is Puno Selesho and I am a spoken word artist / poet / many different things. Depends who's asking. What a great privilege it is to be sitting here in my home, receiving a special honor to be called a legacy. When I think of legacy, I think of somebody that's 70 plus years old, and here I am at 27, being recognized for my voice, for my work, for the things that I've been grinding and doing. And it is no light thing, and I don't take it lightly. And honestly, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm humbled and I'm honored for this recognition, if I can call it that. Grateful as well to the African podcaster and voice community. This is important. These kinds of platforms are important because if there's anything I've learned in my journey of poet, of voiceover artist, of all of these things, is that we need to create our own communities and our own platforms, our own avenues and ways of getting our stuff out there so that other people can also see us and do it for themselves so that they can be encouraged. So the voiceover artists, the podcasters who are not sure, should I put my podcast out or not? The poets who are writing in the dark, that they may feel encouraged, that they may know that their voice matters, that their story matters, that we can show ourselves, show one another, and show the world that we have pride, that we are excellent, that we are so valuable and carry so much richness in our African story. So keep championing, keep pioneering. This is important. This matters. And I'm incredibly grateful for this. What it does for me is blow wind in my sails and encourages me to keep going, to keep again putting my voice and my story and my work out there. So thank you again. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep building together. Let's keep rewriting incorrect narratives about Africa, and let us tell ourselves and tell the world who we are and who we want to be. This is only the beginning. Thank you so much. Ciao.
Special thanks to strategic sponsor of the APVA Awards, StreamYard, Black History Buff, and Good Pods. And now, another Special Honors Awards. The Societal Impact Award of the Year goes to Chude Gideon.
I'd like to say thank you to the APVA for this Special Legacy Award for societal impact. It's great to be recognized for the value that we maybe bring into the content media space on the continent. I'd also like to say congratulations to all the other awardees and for them to keep the fire burning. Let's be human together.
And now, for the award for Best Society and Culture Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Road to 30 Podcast, Moments with Underu, Afriwetu, The Voice Not Pod, Africana Woman with Chulu. And the winner of the award for Best Society and Culture Podcast of the Year is Africana Woman with Chulu by Chulu Chansa.
Hello, my name is Chulu. I am the host of the Africana Woman with Chulu podcast. Thank you so much for this award. It is such an honor. I mean, just being nominated and to be able to fly the flag of Zambia so high across the African continent is such an honor. And I am so grateful. So I have to thank all of the people who have been on this journey with me for the last 2 years. My family, thank you so much for supporting me, cheering me on, and always being there for me. My friends, you guys are the best cheerleaders ever. My podcast community, thank you so much. Without you, I wouldn't have learned all the things that I've learned, and you have been such a wonderful support. Thank you so much to our listeners. Listen, we wouldn't be here without you. And then also to all the women that I've interviewed who have shared their stories so generously, so vulnerably, and so beautifully. Thank you so much for just giving your heart and being someone's answered prayer. So thank you, APVA, for all the great work that you're doing. I really do appreciate this award, and it's such an honor. Thanks.
Speaking on the background, significance, and impact of Africa Podcast Day, meet Josephine Karianjahi, co-founder of Africa Podfest, with your favorite host, Gina Tigere, a seasoned digital creator and podcaster.
Hi there, my name is Gina and I'm your host for this discussant interview segment. With me today, I am joined by Josephine. She is the founder of African Podfest, and she is going to introduce herself right away so you can get to know her better. There you go, Josephine.
Thank you so much, Gina. Hi, everybody. My name is Josephine Karianjahi, and I am one of 2 co-founders of Africa Podfest. If you've been working on podcasting in and around Africa, about Africa, you know that Africa Podfest has been celebrating African podcasters all the way since 2019 when we started out. If you are a fan of African podcasts, you have celebrated Africa Podcast Day, and that was founded by Africa Podfest. So you know, whenever you see us, you never, ever miss an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to connect. Together with myself and my co-founder, Melissa Mbogwa, and an amazing team of creatives from across Africa and Africans around the world, we are Africa Podfest, and we are a community of people who just want to see the best in African podcasting at all levels, and we want to be here for a long time to come. We are super interested in the amplification of voices that haven't been heard in traditional media, like women, young people, people who don't have access to enough resources. We also have so many podcasters we've met who are living with disabilities, who are also LGBT plus minorities, who are ethnic minorities in the regions they're in, and people who speak all the languages you know, love, and respect across Africa. So Africa Podfest is a company headquartered in Kenya, focused on Africa with the single goal of making the African podcast ecosystem grow. We do podcast production. So if you've heard any of our podcasts, like our Semanasi podcast on African podcasting, or you've listened to the all new Africa Renewal podcast, you've heard our voices and you've heard many of the people who are making an impact across Africa. If you are a data person, you have heard us on the Discovery Tour of African Podcast Research, the Is This Micon Research Report, all the way from 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019. And we are going to keep going with research to give you, the podcast listener and the podcast audience, all the insights you need to make good decisions about content, the direction of your podcast, and to discover what is happening across the world of African podcasting. We are super excited to be the bringers together of lots of amazing gatherings from different parts of the continent. We've been doing virtual gatherings, we've done in-person gatherings, and we can't wait to show you what's coming up next for African podcasting. So we are super excited to join you all for the African Podcasters and Voiceover Artist Awards.
Yes.
And we are excited to be part of this day today.
Okay, awesome. I'm super excited to hear all of that. That is just showing us the future is so bright, and I am definitely proud to be part of this, as well as the rest of the APVA organization. And then your last question is, this is just in general, Africa Podfest, right? The whole idea is amplifying African voices. Do you have a specific message? Let's say somebody is in the audience and they're just listening and they have no idea where to start or how to go about maybe creating a podcast or even to define the content they will share. What would be the best advice you would give to that person listening today?
Dear person listening, start with where you are and with what you have. The resources that are in your space might seem like very limited, but you can start exploring how to create great podcasts, learn what your unique contribution is, and amplify the work of other podcasters and learn from each other. You can connect with other people because we've been doing this work of like bringing people together as Africa Podfest, as APVA, Niger Pod Hub, Podfest Cairo, and so many other groups across the continent. You are not alone, and you can start today with what you have. Learn as much as you can, be super hungry for the information, and have fun with it.
Yes.
You have a unique voice across Africa and the world. You are bringing a lot to the table. All you need is a little bit of courage,
yes,
amplifying your voice and taking space. The rest we can do together.
Thank you so much for sharing and actually joining us today for this segment. It was absolutely amazing to hear what you had to share. And to the listeners out there, I think the biggest thing is to just understand that times are changing and they're changing for the good, and we have to embrace that. And there's so much more that we can do. So now, to everybody listening, I would like you to guess who the Podcast of the Year award is going to. I am so curious and I am excited. Now let's get back to the main event of the day.
And now, for the award of Best Music Podcast of the Year. The nominees are The Eargasmic Sessions Radio Show, Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast, A Music in Time Podcast, Music Pulse, The Madhouse Adult Entertainment Podcast, and the winner of the award for Best Music Podcast of the Year is Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast by Hafistonova Onitilo.
My name is Afropods, aka your music blog creator of the Energy Force. I am the host of the Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast. The Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast is basically about amplifying the African sound by bringing the best of African music into your ears. I was nominated under the category of music, and I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to everybody that got me nominated, to every Cha-Cha gang and every member of the Cha-Cha Nation across the globe. I say thank you very much. Also, a big thank you to everybody that voted for me, and also to the judges for making me a winner of this award. I appreciate you all. Big shout out to my podcast mentor, Queen Rafi. Without you, I won't be here today. Big shout out to the Ninja Pod Up community. Without you guys, I won't also be a winner. And of course, shout out to the organizers of this award. You guys, thank you for recognizing the hard work that we put through into this award. Keep listening to the Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast. Peace out.
And now, for the award for Best Crime Podcast of the Year. The nominees are True Crime South Africa, Law and Omen, My Only Story, Back to School, Alibi, Mother Siru Podcast. And the winner for Best Crime Podcast of the Year is True Crime South Africa. And now, for the award of Best Relationship Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Young in Love Podcast, Lucan Catherine, What's the Relationship Podcast. And the winner for Best Relationship Podcast of the Year is Young in Love Podcast by Keziah Vilawa.
Hi there, my name is Keziah Vilawa and I am the host of the Young in Love Podcast. The Young in Love Podcast is an interactive platform where we get to discuss love, relationship, loss, heartbreak, marriage, divorce, sex, and everything in between. Thank you to the nominators for thinking Young in Love Podcast worthy of this award. I'm super excited. And if you've never heard of the Young in Love Podcast before, perhaps this is an opportunity to go check us out. We're available on almost every podcast platform: Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you, APVA, for this thoughtful event. I'm super excited to be receiving this award. Thank you so much. Thank you. And to everyone who voted, I love you.
And now, another special honors award. The award for Africa's Voice Director Extraordinaire goes to Remi Olutimayi.
Thank you very much. Thank you, APVA, for this award, for African Voice Director Extraordinaire. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It feels good to be recognized for the bit of work that I've done so far in the voice industry on the continent. And I dedicate this award to everyone who's ever tried to tell stories, African stories. And I would like to also use this opportunity to invite those who are looking to be a part of it. Believe me, this is a history that is happening right now, and I encourage you to be a part of it, because our stories are awesome. The world is waiting on our stories, and our stories will be told. So I like to thank the organizers. I like to thank everyone who's been a part of my journey for the last 20 years, if not longer. From the people who inspired me, to the people who worked with me, to the people who are going to work with me. So, APVA, thank you so much. Thank you.
Special thanks to our reward sponsors, Podparlor and Blueberry Africa. And now, for the award for Best Documentary Performance. The nominees are Ahide Adum, Nigeria; Henry Tatao Ekambi, Cameroon; Waris Kimachi, Kenya; Monique Bet, Kenya; Blessing Kure, Nigeria. And the winner of the award for Best Documentary Performance of the Year is Blessing Kure.
Thank you for this award. I am truly honored to have my work recognized by APVA and by other creatives across Africa. I would like to say a big thank you to my family for their unwavering support in all my endeavors, to my friends, to my well-wishers, and to every single person who took time out to vote for me. Thank you for making this a reality, and I look forward to the amazing things that will continue to happen in the voice space in Nigeria, in Africa. This is the start of great things to come. I know it. Thanks, and God bless.
And now, for the award for Best TV Promo of the Year. The nominees are Eric Ekweme, Nigeria; Chilu Lemba, South Africa; Maimuna Zubar, Nigeria. And the winner for Best TV Promo of the Year is Chilu Lemba.
Promo Voiceover Artist of the Year. Thank you so much. That is huge. I want to tell a quick story. I watch Formula One a lot, and I was watching a race recently. George Russell, who drives for Mercedes, he had been infringed by one of the other drivers, and he started venting to his team on the radio while he was driving, and he was thrown off, obviously. And his team principal, Toto Wolff, went on the radio and said to him, "George, focus on the mission at hand, put your head down, and you will catch that guy. So just focus on your mission." And that's kind of reminds me of what's happened here. I do promos every day for GoTV, SuperSport, and other channels, Netflix, etc. But when I do it, I'm kind of concerned about just getting the right read and getting those words off the paper and bringing them to life. And that's my goal. And getting an award means I'm doing something right. So thank you once again, APVA, and to each person that voted. Thanks so much to my friends and my family. It's a true honor, and I'm so grateful.
And now, for the award for Best Radio Imaging of the Year. The nominees are Chiwete Onyema, Nigeria; Ewoma Oyegwa, Nigeria; Simon Unyosh Gatu, Kenya. And the winner of the award for Best Radio Imaging of the Year is Ewoma Oyegwa. Let's hear Jennifer Canary, a pro-African voice talent, voiceover acting and communications coach, and founder of the Voice Actors League of Kenya, as she speaks on partnerships in the African audio industry, the voiceover perspective with APVA's very own host, Audrey Odugu.
So my name, like you introduced, is Jennifer Canary. And I'm a voice talent in Kenya, in East Africa, and a voice acting coach, voice communication coach. Been in the business for some time, about 20 years now. And yeah, loving it and loving how it's growing in Africa. So I'm really glad and really proud of what you guys are doing at APVA as well.
So we just go straight into the questions, Jennifer. What would you say has there been a sizable increase in collaboration this year in the African audio industry?
Oh, definitely. You guys, APVA, for one, has made a big splash on the voice acting and the podcast scene. And that's already a huge collaboration. And this year, we've seen a lot of East-West collaboration with what's going on in Nigeria and the Voiceover Academy there, and what's going on at the casting club. And so, yes, it's grown exponentially this year.
Great. And we're glad to hear that. What contribution have you made so far as a leading voice in the industry? I know you have a lot to say regarding this.
Well, in Kenya, we have an organization called the Voice Actors League of Kenya, or VALC for short. And we've been around for a long time, helping support talent. Our role is really to equip them with resources, structure of rate cards, how to perform, and just also not to recognize that they're not alone. So many of us have been walking alone and just dealing with the industry mismanagement and things like, and ignorance really on our own. So the Voice Actors League has grown probably the most it has in the last 3-4 years. And we're now a nice community with a lot of robust communication and sharing of problems, and even a place to just vent. And so I'd like to think that that has contributed a whole lot, even to understanding what voice acting is in a very conservative land in Kenya, where it's like, what? You can make money by talking? What's that? So being able to demystify that, and present it as a career that people can actually feel dignity in doing and make a good living.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, in fact, because, oftentimes we always are on the side of consuming and not trying to imagine how can we play a role in a part of a service of creativity that we are totally part of. And sometimes it becomes new to us, not knowing that we have a space in there to play a role and actually own it, especially in the fact of telling our own stories. So there are different ways with which we can share, our culture, our tradition, as it may be.
Absolutely.
And our final question, how do you think the African voiceover community and voice actors within the continent can partner to push the industry forward?
I think you touched on it, Audrey. As much as we're learning how to manage the international space, because voice acting is something, at least in the fashion that it has, that we do it, is really a Western model, where we put our voices to narrations and commercials and audiobooks and things like that. But what you touched on about creating our own stories and developing, like the podcasters, where we're talking about our issues and our solutions to those issues. And so the synergy that is now happening in Africa, I hope, and that at least that's, and what we're striving to do in East Africa, is as much as we're making a living and making extra money and paddling those international waters much more efficiently, that it will come back and gain that African flavor, which is really about community, which is really about morality, which is really about values, which is about returning the identity of Africa on a platform, on a level that we now begin to have content that, yes, the West can buy, but is now feeding us, first of all, or refeeding us, if you will, kind of reminding us who we are in this new generation, and keeping that alive for the children who, we're bringing into the world. So I'm excited about what's going on. I really am. And I love the celebration of us that is happening with APVA. It's a huge stamp on where we're heading.
Yes. And thank you for, pointing that out. I think, with people like you, definitely we're privileged to have people like you to look up to and to learn from. And these platforms are not just, like you said, for those of you that have been there for years, but even just passing down those knowledge and those, niche that you have created over the decades, those things really form to give us, a root at the end of the day. But then, picking out from your responses, it shows your commitment to wanting to make, the podcast platform of voice acting strong and to own it. And, Africa, we have a voice no matter where we are, where we find ourselves. Even without speaking, we have a presence, and it's a very exciting time. Yes, and it's very exciting time to use, audios to really pass a message and to communicate, and to connect with people globally. So we're coming to a close on this interview, and we don't want to take so much of your time. We just want our listeners to, get, the peak of this interview, which really focuses on, yes, passing the knowledge from the older generations to the younger ones, taking our stories, exporting our stories, and then importing the income back again, back into Africa, whereby we can build and continue to tell more stories and connect with the world. But most importantly, owning what we have, no matter where it's coming from, but the roots, the source is coming from us, as it may be. So thank you so much. And on this note, we have come to the end of this interview. And thank you very much for your time.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Audrey.
And now, for the award for Best Narration of the Year. The nominees are Jamaldeen Ademola, Nigeria; Ahide Adum, Nigeria; Ayuma Michelle, Kenya; Anthony The Voice, Nigeria. And the winner of the award for Best Narration is Anthony The Voice.
Yep. Greetings, everybody. My name is Anthony The Voice. I'm an on-air personality, voice talent, and media professional with over 10 years experience. First things first, I am also an APVA nominee for the Best Narration category alongside amazing individuals. And I'd like to say a big thank you to APVA for recognizing me and seeing my work. I'm so grateful. But most importantly, I'm so happy to have won this award. It's a testament of my hard work over the years in not just being a fine talent, but also raising hundreds of talents when it comes to voiceover. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to a future that will see great talents even come through via this platform. God bless you.
And now, for the award for Best Trailer Voiceover of the Year. The nominees are Lord Frank, Nigeria; Stevie Dyke Njala Totolo, Rwanda; Binja Zilhaliwa, South Africa. And the winner of the award for the Best Trailer Voiceover of the Year is Lord Frank. And now, for the award for Best Jingle of the Year. The nominees are Gregory Milanzi, Tanzania; John Best Uche, Nigeria; Onoche Emeka, Nigeria; Amanda Ogwagu, Nigeria. And the winner of the award for Best Jingle of the Year is Onoche Emeka.
My name is Onoche Emeka, and I create social media ad contents and jingles for businesses and organizations for a living. And I must say that when I saw my name on the list of nominees in the category of Best Jingle for the APVA 2022 awards, I was quite excited and encouraged because
that shows that the work I've been putting in over the years is being recognized and appreciated. Yeah, so I was super excited. And I want to say thank you to APVA for the recognition. Thank you so much. And to each and everyone who took our time to vote for me during the voting period. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you to God who gave me the gift of a good voice and who made it possible for me to use it to add value to brands, businesses and organizations, and also to share my gift with the world. So it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. So thank you so much, APVA. Thank you so much for the award. Thank you, Africa.
The APVA Awards is proudly supported by Platinum sponsor Captivate and Diamond sponsor Afropods. Special thanks to strategic sponsor of the APVA Awards, StreamYard, Black History Buff, and Good Pods. Special thanks to our reward sponsors, Podparlor and Blueberry Africa. And now, here to present the News and Current Affairs podcast of the year is James Cridland.
Well, hello, I'm James Cridland, the editor of Pod News, and greetings from Australia. You'll just have to take my word for it that I'm here in Australia. I'm very excited to be presenting this award at the African Podcast and Voice Awards 2022, sponsored by Captivate. I visited South Africa 3 times, visited Ghana twice, and I know that there's some fantastic audio that comes out of all of Africa, and I'm looking forward to hearing more and seeing more of the continent as we begin travelling once more. Well, here are the award nominations for the News and Current Affairs category.
What's Crap? Premium Times Podcast. The Outsiders. GVA Legal Podcast.
And the winner of News and Current Affairs is...
What's Crap by Africa Check.
Congratulations.
And now, for the award of the Education Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Green Living Chats Podcast, Inspirational Vibes with Jim Jam, Builders Haven Podcast, Grow and Glow Podcast. And the winner of the award for Education Podcast of the Year is Grow and Glow Podcast by Gracie Imo.
On behalf of the entire community of Grow and Glow Podcast, I am here to say a very big thank you to everyone who supported the podcast and also to APVA. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really grateful. Let's continue to grow and glow. Thank you.
And now, here to present the Career and Entrepreneurship Podcast of the Year is Kevin Brown, Chief Content Officer and Head of Strategy, Afropod.
Hello, my name is Kevin Y. Brown, and I'm the Chief Content Officer and Head of Strategy at Afropods. And I want to say that it is a pleasure to be able to present this award to you here today. APVA is really doing the work to amplify African voices. And so I want to encourage everyone here in attendance to take up as much space as possible and to get paid for your genius. I hope that you all are having an amazing time and are enjoying the show so far. So without further ado, here are the nominees for the Career and Entrepreneurship category. Oseye Oni of the Origins Africa podcast. Zizi Oriaki Sal, Third Culture Africans. Chris and Martin, African Retooled. Lebo Lion of the Lebo Lion Show. Oluwa Palome Enri Noye of the Hive podcast. And the winner is Zizi Oriaki Sao with Third Culture Africans.
Wow, thank you to APVA for putting on these awards. I'm incredibly grateful and humbled for this award. Congratulations to all of the other nominees. I started Third Culture Africans with a hope and prayer that it will inspire at least one person from the continent to tap into their dreams and make sure that it happens. I'm grateful that we've been able to do that, and this award means so much and is a nice tap on the back to keep going. I look forward to seeing more from the content creators and innovators out of the continent. Thank you again.
And now, for the award for Non-Fiction Podcast of the Year, the nominees are Guardians of the River, Ikia Mas, Tell Your Story Egypt's podcast, Sound Africa, Amplify, and the winner of the award for Non-Fiction Podcast of the Year is Sound Africa by Elliot Muleba, Jedi Ramalapa, and Neo Rakgajane. And now, for the award for Personal Self-Development Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Podvice, Moments with Nderu, Busy Being Born, 1,000 Voices, Queen Rafi's Space Podcast, and the winner of the award for Personal Self-Development Podcast of the Year is Queen Rafi's Space Podcast by Queen Rafi.
Hi, this is Queen Rafi of Queen Rafi's Space Podcast. Wow, this is quite an honor, and I'm very, very grateful to the team at APVA. Being nominated was already a win, so being the person who won for this particular category is a double win and an icing on the cake. I want to say thank you so much to the APVA team. I want to say thank you so much to the listeners and the audience of Queen Rafi's Space Podcast, who I refer to as my rock stars. Thank you for nominating, thank you for voting, and to every other person in the category, thank you for doing such an amazing job on your podcast. You are all inspiring, and I would just say that wherever it is that you are, keep shining the light, keep being consistent, and the days of winning will come. Thank you.
And now, for the award for Science, Technology and Innovation Podcast of the Year. The nominees are The Root of the Science Podcast, Honeypot Chats, Africa Science Focus, The Friendly Troll Podcast, and the winner for the award for Science, Technology and Innovation Podcast of the Year is The Root of the Science Podcast by Ann Chisa.
Hello everyone, my name is Ann Chisa. I am the host and the founder of the most amazing podcast, The Root of the Science Podcast, with your girl, Ann with an E. Now, honestly, to have been nominated, first of all, was so huge. But to win, wow, to win is so affirming because it means that the work that I've been doing is being recognized. So thank you to every single person who voted for the show. Thank you to the APVAs for recognizing the work that I do. And also thank you to all of the guests who come onto the show who are visible role models. My goal is to amplify the voices of Africans in STEM and showcase the diversity of the STEM fields. And it's being realized. This is honestly the beginning. So I hope you watch out for so much more. To my family and friends who support, push me in everything that I do. Thank you so much. Until next time, goodbye.
And now, for the award for Advocacy and Social Change Podcast of the Year. The nominees are Diversity with Diana Podcast, Africana Woman with Chulu, My First Time Stories with today. And the winner of the award for advocacy and social change is My First Time Stories by Janet Mbugwa.
Hi there, my name is Janet Mbugwa. I'm based out of Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a media personality and have been for about 15 years. I was a news anchor and reporter and transitioned into activism through the advocacy I do on menstrual justice, gender-based violence, economic empowerment, and really focusing on transitioning girls into positive womanhood, but also equipping their community, the male allies, the champions, into supporting these women and girls. I'm an author of a book, My First Time, which inspired my podcast called My First Time Stories. I'm an actress. I've dabbled here and there, and I'm also a mother of 2 amazing boys. And I think all of these worlds just combine to talk about the fact that these are all expressions of the advocacy I do, whether it's through my social media platforms and digital advocacy, whether it's through my podcast, my book, or my foundation, which is called Inuadado Foundation, which over the last few years has focused on enhancing access to sanitary products and information on menstrual health, which still remains a massive issue globally, where we have about 500 million women and girls that don't have access to products or information, and 1 million school-going girls who don't have access to sanitary products, and that means that they are unable to perform well in school or attend school. So the passion point for me is to see that we have access for everybody, but really have agency, access, and advocacy given to girls and women to allow them to speak truth to their power.
And now, for another Special Honors Awards. The APVA African Innovation Award goes to Wakio Mzenge.
Asante Yesu. It was in 1995, during the Kenya National Schools and Colleges Drama Festivals, that I was announced as the best performing artist for the play Uvundo by St. Augustine's Preparatory School. Shortly after that, a journalist came to me for an interview and put a microphone right in front of my face. And I can't quite remember what I said, but I remember how I felt. I felt some sort of power. And it's the same feeling I get each and every time that I walk into a booth and a microphone faces me. I was only 11. And if you had asked me then what my career aspirations were, they were definitely very limited to the mainstream. I didn't know that there was such a thing as a voiceover industry. Microphones were for journalists and politicians and preachers and perhaps singers. But today, I recognize that it is at that very moment during that interview that my love affair with the microphone began. Today, my voice, plus the microphone, plus many other factors, equal a lucrative career. And so I thank you, APVA Awards, for naming me as one of the very maiden APVA legacies. I received the award for African Innovation Award with so much pride and so much weight, because for me, what this means is that I have a responsibility. We have a responsibility as African parents to create an atmosphere that is healthy for our children to be curious, to have dreams, to have aspirations, to pursue their passions. Because there are opportunities for earning a living. There are opportunities for being impactful within the mainstream, but also beyond the mainstream. Thank you so much, APVA Awards. I want to thank all the producers and sound engineers who have worked with me. I want to thank all other voiceover actors that I've had the privilege to co-create with. I want to thank my manager, Ogake Momanyi, for leveling my head up. I want to thank my children for being such an inspiration. God bless us all, and God bless the work of our voices.
This is the APVA Awards, brought to you by Captivate.
Hello there, my name is Gary. I am the head of design here at Captivate, and we are very, very happy to be partnering with the APVA Awards. And this is just a very short video to let you know what Captivate is and some of our key features. So we are a podcast hosting platform, and since the very beginning, we have really focused on helping the podcasters like yourselves, the indie podcaster, the serious creator, on saving as much time and optimizing your workflow so that you can concentrate on things like improving your content or putting out additional content, looking at your marketing, etc. Really trying to grow your listenership and get your podcast to where you want it to be, which will hopefully be monetization and potentially making your podcast your career. Some of the features that we've launched in the last year that have really helped our users accomplish those things are things like our guest booking platform, where you can set your availability within Captivate, you can book people on, you can send out a URL, they can book themselves onto your show, and at the same time you're capturing their information, so their bio, social media links, their image, etc. And that is all stored dynamically within Captivate. So another tool that we launched that makes use of that information is our dynamic show notes builder tool. That enables you to set up templates so that you don't have to retype your show notes for every episode. But within your templates, you can bring in dynamic information. You can store dynamic chunks of text, which is our dynamic blocks. But our shortcodes hold all of that information, such as guest booking, so that you can just bring that in one click and you don't have to worry about retyping all of that information out. We also have Amy, which is our ad insertion tool. So with your local ads, you can upload those and use them as your pre or post roll, or even your mid roll, and you can insert those into your episodes. And we also have a really good bulk editor tool so that you can go through and change all of your ads in one shot, and you don't have to go around and mess around with each one individually. We also have things like attribution links, where you set up trackable links. So if you wanted to send people to a certain destination, you can do that and then track all that information within our other analytics as well within Captivate. There's loads of features, some really cool stuff there to help podcasters like yourselves. So head over to captivate.fm if you want some more information on that stuff. So once again, it's been very cool to be partnered with the APVA Awards. The best of luck to all the nominees. Enjoy the awards, and thank you very much.
Here to present the award for Rising Talent of the Year podcast category is Gatoni Ngumba, Community Manager, Afropods.
Hi everyone, my name is Gatoni Ngumba and I am the Community Manager at Afropods, the premier Pan-African podcast hosting and distribution platform, and we are growing the largest library of African audio stories on the planet. I am so excited to be here today. I have worked in the African podcasting space for about 3.5 years, and the amount of growth I have seen in such a short period of time is very encouraging. So I want to encourage you, because I'm a firm believer that Africa's stories should be told by the people who know her best. If you have an idea that you're not sure about, don't think about it anymore, just start your podcast, because we need your unique perspective added to the voices that are telling Africa's stories. And with that, here are the nominees for the Rising Talent of the Year Award. Grace Emo, Grow and Glow Podcast. Susie Wakabi, the Susie Wakabi Podcast. Akumu Fiona and Claire Baker, the Yes Girls Podcast. Opeyemi Sanusi, Vibes Podcast, and Pablo Kubie, the Amateur Podcast. And the award goes to Akumu Fiona and Claire Baker, the Yes Girls Podcast. Congratulations, ladies.
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm Akumu. And we are the Yes Girls. And if you're watching this, or if this video ever sees the light of day, it's that we were successful, and we not only in making a podcast that we love, but in winning this award with the APVA.
So thank you for nominating us and for voting, however many times you voted. We love you and thank you so much. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to do what we love. Keep learning, being and learning for your entertainment and education.
Yes. Thank you for the recognition, and a word of advice maybe to all of you is keep saying yes.
Yes, keep saying yes. Thank you. Bye.
And now, for the award for Rising Talent of the Year, Voiceover category. The nominees are Anne Hambuda, Namibia; Charles Jr. Akano, Nigeria; George Kiplagat, Kenya; John Best Uche, Nigeria; Precious Eze, Nigeria. And the winner for the award of Rising Talent of the Year, Voiceover category is Charles Jr. Akano.
Hello, my name is Akano Charles Jr. Chindi, also known as Ace Wonders. I am a professional voiceover artist and a radio host and also a fashion model. So I was nominated for the APVA Awards in the Rising Talent of the Year Voiceover category. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you for being nominated. It's a great privilege. I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for this award. This is a call to do more. This is, I really think that this is a place that I will come and grow.
And now, for the award for Rising Talent of the Year, Spoken Words category. The nominees are Audrey Atuire, Tanzania; J. Miles Kaliamba, Zambia; Kaploti Mwenyewe, Kenya; Talia Bong Boris, Alemge, Cameroon; Tall J. Vanilla, Kenya. And the winner of the award for Rising Talent of the Year, Spoken Word category is Talia Bong Boris Alemge, Penboy.
Hi guys, my name is Penboy, Penboy, and I am a poet and spoken word artist from Cameroon. For the past 5 years, I have been using the art of spoken word to advocate for social, cultural, and political justice around my country, hopefully Africa and the world. I'm glad to have submitted one of my spoken word pieces for the APVA Award nomination. And I want to use this moment to appreciate the team behind APVA Award for nominating me, and I also want to appreciate them for my APVA Award nomination certificate. At least you've skyrocketed my career to another level. Thank you.
And now, for the award for Spoken Word Artist of the Year, the nominees are Mark Alonge, Cameroon; Jicho Pevu Poet, Kenya; Philip Asaya, Nigeria; Matthew Otor, Nigeria; Hua Okoyomo, Nigeria; Puno Selesho, South Africa. And the winner of the award for Spoken Word Artist of the Year is Mark Alunge.
Thank you to the African Podcast and Voice Artist Awards for this incredible recognition. Thank you as well to all the other super talented artists and influencers from across the African continent who are celebrated today for their incredible work. I believe as artists, it is our responsibility to document this moment in history, to celebrate our culture, identity, our way, and our craft. May this award serve, for me, not as a milestone or an achievement, but as a wake-up call for us artists, entrepreneurs, politicians, influencers, nation builders of all kinds to realize that there is still too much work to be done. May we stay focused, purposeful, and united in our collective action towards sustainable change. Then and only then can we be rest assured of a prosperous Africa for our children and our children's children. Thank you once more, and God bless you.
It's time to reveal one of the APVA legacies for the 2022 awards. Presenting Sheung Shubo for Leadership Impact Award.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this award. I want to say thank you to the organizers. APVA, thank you so much. I appreciate this award. For me, it's really much more than an award. It's a call to service, and I'm honored to be called to serve. This, for me, transcends any show off. For me, it's all about raising African voices that are going to be on the global map, which is what has been my mission. My mission has been to put African voices on the global map. That has been my mission from day one. And I'm glad that this is happening right before our eyes. I want to dedicate this award to every single Voiceover Academy alumni. You guys all know we are all family, and this is your award. Also to our core team, my colleagues at the Voiceover Academy, Morenike Adams, Femi Olubade, Victor Olubamila, Progress Edwards, Sheyi Biliwamo, Moses Udo. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been my support, my backbone. Thank you so much, my fantastic colleagues. And of course, I want to dedicate this to my family, my immediate family, my wife, my 2 daughters. You guys have supported me all the way as I take this mission all around the world. I'm so grateful. I really, really appreciate this award, and I hope that our industry will continue to grow higher and higher. Thank you, and I pray for APVA. I pray that your organization continues to grow higher and higher. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Coming up right away, a key interview on voice-over localization and the African market with Oluwatobi J. Oladipo, President and CEO of iVoice Africa.
Without wasting much of your time, we're just going to go straight into it. I'd like to find out, what is voice-over localization?
Okay, voice-over localization, I'm just gonna have to break it down in 2 ways, voice-over localization. So, localization is a very broad word, and it encompasses a lot of things that has to do with creating content for people in a way that they can relate with, in a way that they can communicate to, in a way in which the communication in which you're having with them is very relatable, particularly when it's very culturally relatable. When we now have to bring in voiceovers into the picture, then one of these ways in which you can connect to people through their relatable culture is through voiceovers, right? You want to, if you're trying to do a show or an advertisement in West Africa, for example, you would want to use, sometimes you would want to use pidgin because that's what is broadly understood by a majority of people. Somewhere in the South, you're going to have to talk about maybe Shona or Sosa, languages like that. And of course, so this is voiceover localization comes in, because you're trying to connect deeply with people in a different dimension.
Amazing. I really like the idea of it, especially because it's also in a way a form of creating a much stronger bond with people who are in the local community who aren't exactly in the international scene. So having to use native languages and so on and so forth encompassed in voiceovers is a really, really interesting aspect in voiceovers, which I think would be really, really dope, especially for the African continent. So with that in mind, what significant role does do African voice artists play in voice-over localization across the continent?
Okay, very interesting question. So while I've already established the fact that voice-over localization already relates deeply with people, then for you to relate deeply with these people, you need to use someone who's familiar in this culture to be able to communicate to the others, right? So you don't want a situation where there is a lot of demand and less supply. And voiceover artists, translators, even other people who are stakeholders in localization. You don't want to have them, you as a client, you as a business, you as someone who's trying to communicate with people from Africa. You don't want to have a situation where you're lacking resources And in this case, I mean human resources that can actually help you do this communication properly. Practical example is you don't want to use someone who is German. You don't want to give someone who is German to come and speak or to come and read a script written in Swahili, or a script even written in Afrikaans, which is almost similar to Dutch or whatever, right? You don't want to use someone like that to come and read a script in Afrikaans because you're trying to communicate to some people in South Africa, right? So the role to voiceover artists really play a huge role in making themselves available for this demand. And more importantly, because the goal of, if we're still speaking about voiceovers, the goal of voiceovers is to actually communicate to people or to actually sell to people, then you need to ensure that you as a voiceover artist, you have the skills necessary to be able to sell. Because it's not just about speaking the language, it's not just about being available for these opportunities, but then how ready are you, how skillful are you in reaching the bottom line of the client, in reaching the bottom line of this company or whatever the case may be. So I've spoken about availability of resources, and at the same time now I'm speaking about skill sets and being able to be professional in your craft. There's so many other things I can speak about, like how deliberate are you, how consistent are you. There's a lot more that we can go down the line, but I feel like this two that I've mentioned are the major stuff. How available are you and how skillful are you to actually sell?
I really wish we had more time to discuss more on this, because this is a very, very interesting topic, and I love how you brought out a lot of things that are very, very relatable, especially to content creators in the audio entertainment world. I'm really, really appreciative, and on behalf of everyone who's listening as well, I think it's safe to say that we have learned quite a bit.
And now, for the award for Voiceover Artist of the Year. The nominees are Chilulemba, South Africa; Laren Nicodemus, Nigeria; Cynthia Kimola, Kenya; Mazino Appeal Ofor, Nigeria; Stephanie Anene, Nigeria. And the winner of the award for Voiceover Artist of the Year is Stephanie Anene.
Hi guys, so guess what? I bring you good news. Voice of Steph just won Best Voiceover Artist overall in the APVA Awards 2022. I'm so excited, but before I even go any further, let my excitement have the best of me. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who voted for me. All of you who forwarded my videos to friends and families, posted my voting link on your WhatsApp statuses, all of you who sent me screenshots of how many times you voted, those of you who created WhatsApp groups and brought in your friends and family just to vote for me. Brother Chisom, thank you so much. Tiny, you are the best. Thank you so much. SMI, Rosalie, well, I can go on and on and on. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, APVA, for this platform. Thank you for recognizing my talent and my gift. God bless you. This award is for all the voiceover artists in Nigeria and in Africa. If Stephanie Anene could do it, then you can do it. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
This is the APVA Awards, brought to you by Captivate.
So, we are rejigging a few things within APVA. Our membership platform is about to go digital, and with it, some solutions. APVA Match is set to launch in a few weeks, and we're looking for the first 1,000 users. If you have been looking to make a guest appearance on African podcast, this is for you. If you are a podcaster looking for guests, this is also for you. If you are a voiceover artist or spoken word artist looking for more visibility on the continent, you should sign up now. If you are a brand, production agency, or potential sponsor looking to discover a unique set of audiences, talents to work with, or offers to share, this is also for you. Please indicate your interest by joining the waitlist. Keep up with us on our social media platforms as we share more updates. Thank you.
Special thanks to strategic sponsor of the APVA Awards, StreamYard, Black History Buff, and Good Pods. The APVA Awards is proudly supported by Platinum sponsor Captivate and Diamond sponsor Afropods. Special thanks to our reward sponsors Podparlor and Blueberry Africa. It's time to reveal one of the APVA legacies for the 2022 awards. Presenting Daphne Atere Roberts, now Daphne Ben Okagwe, for Lifetime Achievement Award.
When the African Association of Podcasters and Voice Actors, APVA, informed me of their intention to give me this award, I was thrilled and humbled. It has indeed been a memorable journey. Most poignant of being a founding member of the Association of Voiceover Artists and first woman president of that association. I thank God for his gift and for its rewards. To APVA, thank you for the recognition and honor. And to those who come after me, if I have managed to inspire you, inspire your passion, remember, the voice is an instrument. Soothe, calm, illuminate, educate, communicate, inspire, and entertain. The voice is an instrument. Use it well. Thank you.
And now, here to present the award for Podcast of the Year is Danny Brown, podcaster, creator, storyteller, head of podcast experience at Captivate, headline sponsors of the African Podcast and Voice Awards.
Hello attendees and nominees for the APVA Awards 2022. I'm Danny Brown, and I'm the head of podcaster support and experience at Captivate FM, the world's only growth-oriented podcast host. We're super excited to be partnering with the team to recognise the podcasting and voiceover talent in the African audio community. The nominees for the Podcast of the Year award are
True Crime South Africa, Legally Clueless, I Said What I Said, Man Talk K, The Lebo Lion Show, Man Talk K by Eli Wenda and Oscar Kume Mbabu.
Congratulations to the winners and all the nominees. It's testament to the talent that's in this industry and in this community, and we look forward to seeing what you do over the next 12 months.
Hi, my name is Oscar Kome.
Hi, my name is Eli Mwendo.
And we are mantalk.ke. It is our great honor to accept this award from the Association of African Podcasters and Voice Artists for Podcast of the Year. The nomination itself was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
We are shocked that all the way from Lagos, you're enjoying the content that we make. Thank you so much for allowing us to be your first pioneer awardee. We will hold this award with great esteem.
Close to our hearts.
Close to our hearts. We will carry it. It's a shame we can't come to Lagos and pick it up though.
Exactly. APVA, thank you so much. Like when we started this podcast, we didn't think people would be that receptive to conversations that are vulnerable from African men. The fact that it's been recognized on such a platform, the fact that we're getting the recognition from people that are actually critiquing podcasts and realize that this is a topic and these are two guys that are worthy of even standing as nominee means the world. So the potential to win was just a great honor as well, as my buddy here, Oscar, has said. So we hope we'll be here for many more awards.
Yes.
I'm going to keep doing the Lord's work, man.
Amen.
Positive conversations about
Thank you so
masculinity
much.
in society.
And shout out to the moms who made us go viral on WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
And ensured we got in. And shout out to our fans
Yeah.
and everyone who's made this possible by voting and participating in this voting scheme. So it is with great humility that we accept this award. So
Yes.
thank you again, and love from Nairobi.
Thank you, APVA. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for sticking with us, and congratulations to our winners. Expect your digital prize packages via email containing award seals, press templates, podcast planners, and more. Up next, anticipate the exclusive award-themed issue, Top 100 African Voices. The APVA award-themed issue, like the African Podcast and Voice Awards, will be curating what is believed to be the most concise list of Africa's greatest audio creatives and actors in the ecosystem. See you next year.